All right. How's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. This is take number 2. Apparently there was an issue with the first one. I'm not sure what was going on, but welcome to my broadcast. And as everyone, if you don't know who I am, my name is Brian Fanzo. I am better known as iSocialFans on the Twitters. So as you can see on my hat, it has my Twitter account right there on my hat for any of you guys to see. Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone's having Sleuth. How's it going? Hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I'm gonna share this to Facebook real quick. It helps having 2 devices. Here, let's see. All right. So I just shared that to Twitter. All right, thank you guys for inviting your followers. Still no Periscope notifications. Not sure what is going on with the Periscope notifications. I'm not really sure why that is and why people aren't getting notified. But it's okay, because I got a lot to talk about, and I'm excited to talk about this. I'm in the midst of writing a blog post, and really, it's about, if people follow me, those of you that don't know who I am, I own my own company called iSocialFans. Good morning, Natalie. Good morning, Rob. Hey, Lauren, Creedon. Lauren, you got it both times? Oh, interesting. Hey, Lauren, I got to connect with you about FanCred. I had an interesting conversation with someone, so I will talk with you. I'll send you a message later today. But my name's Brian Fanzo, better known as iSocialFans, which is my Twitter handle. I am doing well. I am a change evangelist. I try to help brands not only tell their stories better, but figure out how to integrate technology and social to be more productive, to solve more problems, and do better things. Ideally, for me, it's not about embracing or forcing technology. It's about doing amazing things in that group. CEO of Catch.me is on Periscope TV Slack group too. Oh, very cool. CEO of Catch.me is a very good friend of mine. I was one of the very first users of Catch a while ago. So for me, Twitter has had a major impact on my life, and it's been something that I've been really watched the whole replay from a minute ago. Yeah, I had issues earlier, and I'm not sure why. So thank you guys for sharing this with your followers, because I'm not sure why my followers didn't get a push notification when I went live, and you saw it on Twitter. So yeah, I'm not sure why, what's going on with that, but I appreciate everybody for being here. And so I have had the luxury of really Twitter changing my life, both professionally and personally. I believe it's an amazingly powerful tool. For those of you that don't know, they released a brand new feature today. If you want to look at the new feature account, it's called Moments. So as you can see right here, that's their new feature called Moments that was just released today. It's allowing you to segment your content based on what you want to see. I think this is an awesome new move. It's being rolled out to begin with. It's being pushed out to your phone as well. I had downloaded the new version of the phone, but I didn't have it on there. But Uneven on the Lift is being live. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know what's going on right now with Periscope. But for me, I've been very blessed and lucky, and I actually love Twitter. But recently, there's been lots of conversations about Twitter tanking. Twitter's dead. The future of Twitter has no hope. I know they had no CEO for a long time. Congrats to the godfather of Twitter, who is Jack. So Jack, congrats. I put Jack in the title of this Periscope. Not that I expected him to watch, but just kind of giving a shout out to Jack. I do wish they would have announced Jack as the formal CEO on Periscope, because last time I checked, Twitter owns Periscope. It would have been a great decision to do so. I also do think it's a great time to buy Twitter stock. And so I'm going to explain to you how I love Twitter, how it's changed my life. And then I have a list of things that I believe that Twitter needs to focus on to not only make Wall Street happy, but to change how their users are happy and how their users are using it. I've been very blessed. I've been on Twitter since the early days, but I came on there at some point. I need to know what your shirt says. So my shirt says Make 7. And then on the back, it says, up yours. You changed my life, though. So yeah, this is my old shirt. This is literally from high school. I think I wore it in 2000, and actually I wore it in 1997 in high school. So that's my shirt. But so here's the thing for me, Twitter is not Facebook. It doesn't need to be Facebook. It's not supposed to be Facebook. And if you don't love Twitter, if you think that Twitter, you didn't sign up to Twitter again until Twitter pushed out Periscope, and then all of a sudden you sign up for Twitter again. I'm gonna kind of talk about that. It's in good condition because I'm good with that for my shirt. So for me, Twitter has had a major impact, and reason that I love Twitter is Twitter allows me to connect with people that have a shared purpose and a shared passion as me. And it's not. Is this glitchy still? Is it still being glitchy? Hopefully not. Hopefully you guys are seeing this loud and clear. All right, good. So, Twitter has had a major impact on me. It's allowed me to not only connect and do things that I've always wanted to do, but also allowed me to, no, my kids don't say anything about my shirt. They can't read that much yet. And they probably won't even know what up yours means. But yeah, thank you for sharing this with your followers. And I appreciate that. I see those coming across. So here's the thing. Twitter isn't Facebook. Twitter is a unfiltered fire hose. The reason I love Twitter is it's not a dynamically created content. The data isn't filtered. I don't have to be friends with you to connect and read with you. If we have a shared purpose, if we have a shared passion, my pleasure. It allows us to connect with people that we might not have known, that have lived around the world. And really, Twitter really has taken down I think the silos and the guards that exist in our world, especially in our social world today. Hi Vicky, how's it going? And honestly, I absolutely love Twitter, but I think Twitter's main problem is one of the things that they were great on. When I first got on, I only got on there when it was focused around a sports team. I'm a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I got on, I used to blog about Steeler Nation. I got on when I would follow the Steeler hashtag or the Steelers Nations hashtag, and really I would start to use Twitter as a way to connect with people that were in Pittsburgh, because I no longer lived in Pittsburgh. I was going to school in Virginia at a small school called Radford. I was still driving up to Pittsburgh. But for me, I absolutely love Facebook as well. So here's the thing. I love my personal Facebook. I love my Facebook pages. I love Twitter, but I love them all for unique reasons. And here's part of the problem, in my opinion. Twitter forgot KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. And what I mean by that is they really, if anyone's tried to manage Twitter from the Twitter UI, the basic Twitter UI, it is very painful. It is really difficult. If you go to twitter.com and put in a hashtag or just try to search content or search people or understand who followed you, a lot of those things got really, really complicated. And yes, the learning curve to go from a lurker or from a new user to a power user on Twitter is extremely difficult. Yes, great one, Sarah Moore. That's a good one right there. And so for me, part of the things that I think that Twitter really needs to fix is they need to understand that the learning curve is actually one of the things that is actually hurting it. And yes, you might be like, wait a second. The learning curve doesn't affect the stock price. Yes, it does. And the reason it actually affects the stock price is because, for the most part, here's the thing. You need to turn people from a lurker or from a user that gets on there, gets confused, and ejects, to a user that is actually using it for a purpose, for an event, for a hashtag, to connect with people they didn't really already know. But you have to make it simple, and you have to start somewhere. And the Twitter UI, in my opinion, is very difficult to not only navigate, but when I'm getting a new user on there, and this is somebody, I send close to 1,200 tweets a week from my Twitter account. I only schedule 26 a day. Therefore, the rest of them are coming from these two fingers on my iPhone or on my Twitter desktop app. Majority of it being on my desktop app. And for me, the biggest thing is I leverage other tools. I love other tools to really embrace the power of Twitter. And because I have to use other tools, it makes that learning curve difficult. What would you like to see that change on Twitter? So I'm gonna break it down for you. So this is what I would like to see them change. The first thing I would like them to do is I would like them to focus on the new learning curve. I would like them to embrace and understand that new users or lurkers have a difficulty understanding who to follow, and don't just suggest celebrities and people that only tweet 3 times and never engage. Because here's the thing. I bet you all of you have had this, right? When you first got on Twitter, you send a tweet and you sit around waiting, right? Is someone going to retweet me? Is someone going to message me back? And it's all crickets. Because remember, when you first log on to a Twitter account, they only suggest you to follow, the suggestions of all these power users. And last time I checked, Ellen DeGeneres isn't replying to your first tweet. Right? And that's something to keep in mind. So the learning curve is important because all of those hashtags on TV, all of that nonsense that you see about all these brands trying to use it, and really the brands are what's paying for Twitter, and the brands are paying for the ads, and the brands are paying for a lot of that user case. If they don't get the user base, if they don't get the brand's audience to go from a lurker to a signed in Twitter power user, they will never get them to click on the ads and provide value on the ads. So the target audience is extremely difficult, and that is something that I think not only do they have to understand, but they have to look at, and I'm going to get to what I believe video's future of that as well. And thank you guys for sharing it on Twitter. I saw a couple of people just shared this out. I do appreciate that a lot. I have to type in Twitter real quick. All right, so I had to send that out real quick. All right, so Cricket Monster is really, that's an analogy. Yeah, thank you. So here's the thing. So we have to focus on a couple things, and this is what I think Jack, as his new CEO, needs to do. He needs to focus first on on shrinking the learning curve from a new user, a lurker, into a power user. That means make the Twitter UI easier to navigate. That also means turn the notifications and understanding that initial training when someone logs into their phone on Twitter for the first time, or they log in their Twitter account the first time, don't make it those 4 tabs and next. We need to actually embrace that user and ask them and understand why they're getting on there. If someone's getting on there for a live event, to follow the Super Bowl, to follow something that's going on, that means they need to actually understand that and provide them training, dynamic training that actually makes sense. Number 2, the Twitter UI was number 1. Number 2, they need to actually look at events. Events are what bring us all together when it comes to Twitter, and that is the key. So they need to start taking advantage of us as advocates. If you are a power user of Twitter, how many people have got Twitter swag? How many people have, when they went to an offline event, have seen somebody from Twitter there giving out publicizing the event hashtag, or explaining to event organizers what in a hashtag should be used, or even those stupid Super Bowl commercials that use hashtags but never monitor or do an auto reply to all of them. I believe the second thing I think they need to do is that they need to really focus on finding ways to amplify events and tap into advocates and evangelists. That means they need to put a face on Twitter. Right now, nobody knows Twitter employees. There could be Twitter employees working on here right now, and I wouldn't know. I probably know 15 to 20 Twitter employees total, and that's just because I've been working with Twitter on the data team. There are many Periscopers or more engaged people on Twitter. So I'm going to get to video's impact in a second. So that's one of the things that I really think is important. I'm going to talk about Project Lightning in a second as well. Twitter has employees, yes, but you wouldn't know it. And if you would think about it this way, I would love to work for Twitter. Sign me up to work for Twitter, because I love the brand. I believe in the story. It's changed my life. I can believe it can change brands. I believe it can change offline events. I agree on events big time. Events transform. That's what my company does. What I do is I help events work with influencers to create better content and amplify their message. A lot of that has to do around the hashtag, around the offline event. Twitter needs to start focusing on offline advocates, offline evangelists, and empowering people. Does anybody have the beta account for Twitter? No, they don't have a beta Twitter team of power users. I'm running this right now on Periscope beta. I'm using Periscope beta right now, and it's because Periscope is starting to get the fact that they need to have a face on the company, they need to empower their advocates, and they need to start understanding that the real Twitter users are the ones that or the real Periscope users are the ones that are going to provide the feedback that's great. So how do we vote for you, Brian? Hey, Twitter CEO is already taken, but maybe we'll figure out a way to start a campaign so for me to be hired as a Twitter Periscope evangelist. I could jump both of the features, but I appreciate you guys sharing this to Twitter. If you share this to Twitter and share it to Periscope. So that was number 2. So I'm recapping real here. I said they need to fix the learning curve from new user to power user. They need to make the UI more user friendly. Honestly, how many people here, put a number 1 in here if you guys use TweetDeck. I use TweetDeck every single day. It's the only app. There it is right here on my desktop. Write a number 1 if you guys use TweetDeck. Put in it. Okay, here's the thing. Guess who owns TweetDeck? Guess who bought TweetDeck? And I love Hootsuite, and I love Buffer. But here's the thing. Guess who owns TweetDeck? Twitter. Twitter bought them. They killed off the Twitter app, the Twitter TweetDeck app on the iPhone, but they kept the mobile version of it, and they kept the Mac client of it available. Here's the thing. Why are those features, why are they not part of Twitter's UI? Why can I not be inside of Twitter's UI and it allow me to filter the noise? The reason all of us are using TweetDeck is it allows us to manage lists. Lists are a game changer on Twitter, yet they make it a pain in the list to actually update your list, and they make it painful for you to find your list. I can tell you there's people that have been on Twitter for 2 years that don't even know where to go to their list to update their list or to promote their list. I don't look at my Twitter fire hose on TweetDeck. I have all of my lists broken out. So lots of people have great ideas about social media. I love Brian saying, oh, thank you so much, Chris Straub. I mean that. And to me, the reason I love Twitter, the reason I believe I would have made a great Twitter CEO is because guess what? I'm a user. I'm a user as a personal user. I'm a user that helps small businesses. I'm a user that helps enterprises. I'm part of the community. Twitter has become too disconnected from the community because their employees are not part of the community that they're doing. We need to empower Twitter employees to be on Periscope. We need to empower them to be on Twitter. We need to empower them to get on Twitter chats. And that leads me to my third part. Understanding how people are using Twitter should help shape the features that are getting on there. Managing lists on Twitter is a pain, but yet if you figure out how to manage them and you configure them correctly, it can change your life when it comes to Twitter. And I'm going to talk to you about more of the shareholder things because I know how to make the shareholders happy, and I have ideas for that. Because here's the thing. You know how you make shareholders happy? Is you get your audience engaged and active. Therefore, people are buying ads, and there's more data, and the data becomes more valuable, and then Twitter can leverage the data. And here's the thing. Data is a major game changer. So another thing that I believe Twitter needs to focus on is making the data and the analytics easy to use. How many people on here right now have checked at Twitter? I want you to tell me with a number one if you've checked analytics.twitter.com in the last month. Type a number one, and I thank you guys. I know all these great peeps are in here. I want to know how many people are using Twitter Analytics, because Twitter Analytics are awesome, but I don't believe that many people are using them. So here's where Twitter Analytics are for you those. So right here you can see Analytics is in the drop down. Everybody can see that? And then Twitter Analytics actually brings you up, and it's actually some great data. So you can do everything from looking at your tweet cards to where you can understand your followers better. All of these things are, look, I can tell you what the interests are of my target followers. My interests of my target followers are technology, entrepreneurship, tech news, business and finance, and marketing are available today in Twitter Analytics. The problem is not many use it for work every day, my own account a couple times a week. I love hearing that. But here's the thing. It's not easy to use. It's not easy to configure, and you can't report out of it in a way that you can report up the chain. Because everybody knows what my philosophy is when it comes to proving ROI of social media, right? I'm looking to hire a social media guru in Nashville, Tennessee. I might know somebody, Sean Thomas. I will let you know. I might know somebody in the Nashville area now that you asked that. So here's the thing. The data is super important. Predicting movie trends based on a movie trailer and how it's received on Twitter. That's a game changer. Yes, jump on there is Twitter training coming very soon. So thank you, Sarah Moore, for that. I appreciate that. So here's the thing. So the data is one of the things. And making the UI easy to get to analytics, to get to list. Those are all things that are super important. Thank you guys for sharing this on Twitter. I see some people popping up that are sharing this across the board. I truly do appreciate that. It means a lot to me. All right. So here's the next thing that I think they need to focus on. I have my list right here for those of you who are wondering. Twitter paid. Paid. So glad you retweeted this article last night. Oh, thank you so much. So here's the thing. Twitter paid is pretty impressive. Twitter advertising is pretty awesome. But guess what? Yeah, thank you guys for the hearts. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for sharing this with your followers. Twitter ads are awesome, but they are extremely difficult to actually leverage. It is a pain to leverage them. And not to mention that once you figure it out, it becomes easy. But it's not easy for the small business owner. It's not easy for the entrepreneur. It's a very difficult task. And the other thing is, Twitter customer service sucks. their own customer service for paying clients, customers, enterprise, and new users, and it really does suck. And that's sad because I know of great brands. There are tons of amazing brands that only use Twitter. Thank you, TechStud, for sharing. That only use Twitter for their customer service. And the crazy part is those brands are leveraging Twitter for customer service, yet Twitter customer service is horrible to get a hold of. If you get your account hacked, if you can't access your ads, if something was wrong on your ads, if the data it's providing is difficult, there is no number to call, there's nobody that'll act, there's no face on that brand. They should leverage Periscope. They should have a Twitter every single week. They should have a 1-hour show on Periscope that says we answer the 10 most popular Twitter asked questions to our customer service department. Guess what? Twitter owns Periscope. Boom, mind blown, right? 70% of customer service complaints are made on Twitter go unanswered. Agree. And that is crazy. And I believe Twitter has the power, has the data, has the information, and has the know-how. Because here's the thing. How do you keep Wall Street happy? How do you keep people coming back and getting ads and understanding it? Is you have amazing customer service. You understand that it's less about the new acquired user and more about making your existing users happy and giving them the data and the customer service that they need so that they can continue using this service. So to me, Twitter ads need to be simplified. The data needs to be improved so that you can get back to it. And then the last part of that is they need to embrace a new philosophy with customer service. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you, Jen. They really need to look at customer service as Twitter as their number one piece. They need to leverage Twitter video. They need to put a face on their employees. They need to employ employee advocacy. Why is there not a Twitter chat from Twitter? Why would there? They don't have to. They do have to, Vincenzo Landino. They do have to. You know why they have to? Because their stockholders aren't happy. Twitter's not happy. They're changing management. They're not getting people. And you know why they're not getting people? Because they're not listening to us. They're not focusing on what makes users happy. You know what they should do? They should reach out to Brand Boost Podcast, Vincenzo Landino hosted, and they should come on there and say, hey, we're Twitter. This is what we're doing. These are the cool things we're doing. I know that they're working with Disney and these movie companies to do predictive analytics on what's going to be successful in the box office based on tweets about it from their team. I know that Sons of Anarchy, just because Sons of Anarchy cast was using Twitter, that their viewership doubled on their TV show in one season because they actually got the cast members of the show to actually get on Twitter, start tweeting, start sharing, start engaging. If you guys watch Madam Secretary was actually on Periscope. The entire cast was there, and they were actually in their room watching Madam Secretary, the season premiere, and they were using Periscope to connect. And a lot of their the cast on there actually engage really well on Twitter. But guess what? Twitter employees don't. And you know why? They're not incentivized, trained, or taught. And remember, too many people, when they're talking about Twitter, and I hope everyone takes this down as a takeaway for your action item. When someone tells you, help me with Twitter, teach me Twitter, here's what you teach them. You teach them the how and the why, not just the what. If you just teach them what a tweet is, it's 140 characters, you should do it. There should be 5 hearts per minute max. I agree, Marshall Handy. I couldn't agree more. Kurt Sutter rocks on Twitter. Yes, he's one of my favorites on all of Twitter. But guess what? If you focus on the how, if you tell people, hey, these are some tools available for you to be Twitter. I want to be Alex Daly. If I could be Twitter CEO, or I could be Twitter evangelist and report directly to Jack, I would give up my company and sell out of what I'm doing right now, get out of my sponsorships, and sign up to Twitter or Periscope if either one of them wanted to hire me as an evangelist, because I believe in the power of both platforms. They've both had a major impact on my life, and I believe I can help brands, I can help small businesses, I can help users, and I can keep Wall Street happy, because I know that there's other pieces here. Data is powerful. Data is king, and data will change the way brands not only do great things, but how Twitter makes a difference with these brands. And you won't miss me, because I would never accept a job with Periscope or with Twitter without them trusting me to do what I do best, and that's evangelize, work with the platforms. There's tons of companies that are doing amazing things on Twitter, and nobody knows about it because Twitter isn't amplifying that. Twitter should be they should celebrate the biggest wins of all of their customers, but yet they don't. It's my mission to teach people how and why of Twitter. I love that, Jen, because I'm 45 minutes away from you. Oh, no kidding. Tim, you're in Steeler Nation country. That's awesome. So that's another one of these things for me that Twitter paid. All right, so I talked about Twitter data and Twitter social listening. Another thing for everyone that's on here, I know you guys are going to care about it, and thank you guys for sharing this. Thank you for the hearts. It's Twitter video. If you guys watch my keynote, 70% of the internet traffic will be video by 2019. 70% of internet traffic will be video by 2019. If only Twitter had Twitter videos that embedded inside of tweets. If only Twitter had Twitter premium video cards and allowed you to even go beyond 30 seconds. Imagine if Twitter only had an app that did live streaming better than any other app in the world named Periscope. Imagine if Twitter started using the apps that they own, the technology they own, the features they own to actually leverage and evangelize their platform. I absolutely love, imagine if you said, I love Twitter, and someone from Twitter said, we love you too. That would mean they were listening. And guess what? Guess what? Twitter needs to be listening, because Twitter listening is a game changer, and video is the answer. But you know what should have happened when Dick Costolo stepped down as Twitter CEO? Guess what he should have done? Guess what? He should have taken this and opened up Periscope on his phone and said, hey, community, Twitter fans, my family, those that I've been working with Twitter for so long. Hey, here, I want to tell you that I'm stepping down, but I still believe in the mission, and I still love what they're doing. Added iSocialFans to the Periscope Guide. Oh, thank you so much, influencers. Yeah, hopefully you saw my keynote at the Periscope Summit. I was the closing keynote at the Periscope Summit. The name of my keynote was We Are Greater Than Me. The power of collaboration and community is the future of business. You can have more than 30 seconds of video. Yes, I did my first video Twitter card yesterday. If you guys don't believe me, here it's called Video Beta. Underneath analytics, you can do videos, and you can do beta videos that actually are underneath inside of your things. But here's the thing. Why did Twitter not use Periscope when Dick Costolo stepped down? You know what? Maybe it's because Twitter was so new, right? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it's because it was so new and they didn't get it. You know, maybe that was what happened. Oh, wait a second. Why didn't Jack yesterday or Monday announce that he was a Twitter CEO on Periscope? Video is the future of the internet. Twitter is the connection between video platforms and people that have similar passions, similar purposes. And if we were only relying on Facebook, we would only be relying on a social network. What Twitter allows us to do is Twitter allows us to build a community. And remember, a community is about people coming together with a common purpose, a common passion, or a shared interest. A network is people coming together because people bring them. The reason you're friends with somebody on Facebook is it's a people-to-people relationship. The reason you follow a hashtag like Social Business Hour every single Monday for 2 years on Twitter is not because you know me, but it's because you believe in the community, you have a shared purpose, a shared passion, and you follow that hashtag. So why is Twitter not embracing Twitter chats? Why is Twitter not looking at the second screen option and teaching brands how to create better commercials? Why is Twitter not embracing video to help Periscope when it's a new season premiere? They should have brought a platform that comments go into tweets like Meerkat. I agree, Alex Daly. The fact that you cannot, there's so many things here. When you share this broadcast, if you guys swipe right and you share this to Twitter, why does it not auto-populate my Twitter handle? This is owned by Twitter. The app has been out long enough. You know why? It's because they're not listening. They're not hearing us as the community. And I believe the community and collaboration is the future of business. And Twitter will die if they don't listen to us, the community. And you know what? That hurts me. It pains me. Look what my hat says. It's my mantra. I talk fast. I tweet faster. My hat has my Twitter handle on it. Twitter is what I've built my business around. Twitter is how I've pivoted and done everything. I type my Twitter handle in, but that's annoying. I want to thank people for sharing. Handle is key. And those are basics. Thank you, Jen, for sharing this on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for sharing this on Twitter. I see you guys are sharing my broadcast on Twitter. So all I have to tell you, and I see right now, someone actually just said, the feed is all push, no conversation, has been since they made the change way back on. So here's the thing. Blabbers have co-host, and Blab is a great segue and complement to Periscope. It does not replace Periscope. It allows you to complement Periscope, not replace it. So here's the thing. After this show, as soon as this is over, I'm going to fire up a Blab, and I'm going to let anybody else wants to come on to Blab and have their insights about how Twitter can be fixed on Blab, because I want to hear from you guys as well. But I'm not done yet, because Twitter video is a game changer. If you guys aren't using the 30-second Twitter video feature, you're missing out. And you know what? This is how it is. You know what? And I love Blab. So I'm going to do a Twitter video right now. And this is how it's going to go. Here you go. Are you guys ready? All right. Well, my Twitter app's apparently slow on my other iPhone. Twitter video is a game changer, as I'm explaining on Periscope now. So what you do, oh, hold on, let me shrink the brightness so you guys can actually see this. All right, so there it is right there, right? And so I'm gonna go click on the video. I'm gonna click on the little icon. It pops up in the picture, and then boom, this is the video piece, right? So here, we're gonna point it towards you guys real quick, and I'm gonna hold the video. All right, we are recording a Twitter video live on Periscope because by 2019, 70% of the internet traffic is going to be video. Twitter right now has Twitter video cards. They have 30-second embedded Twitter videos that we're doing right now on Periscope while I'm showing everybody how to do it. And they own Periscope. Twitter has the keys to do the future of video. They're just not using them or listening. Bam, there's the tweet, there's the video. All right, so now the video is embedded, so I can actually tweet this out right now. Yeah, hey Jack, hire Brian Fanzo. I agree. Game on if he did. And so now I'm going to tweet out that video, right? And the nice part about that video is it plays in line. It's actually in line, embedded inside of the Twitter feed. So when you guys go on the Twitter, as soon as it's uploaded, you're actually going to see it on Twitter. And honestly, I firmly believe that Twitter video is a game changer, and Periscope is a game changer. And all of these things come down to them understanding the value to not only brands, but to the community. Because remember, why do brands buy ads, which is what Wall Street wants? Why do they buy ads? Because their audience is engaged, they have a captivated audience, and they're reaching their target audience of either current customers, potential clients, or other people. The problem is if they don't embrace video, they don't change the learning curve. Thank you guys for taking screenshots of this as well. I see you guys are taking screenshots. Here you go. Here's the Twitter video. So here it is I have it on TweetDeck, right? Here's the Twitter video. Look, it plays right there in line. A Twitter video live on Periscope. And what does it look like on Twitter? Here, let's go to Twitter real quick. Yeah, let's go right here. Look at that. Plays in line in your newsfeed. Because there it is. Look at that. 70%. So here's the thing. I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to go through my list and I'm going to cover everything again. But I'm going to cover it a little bit more in detail, a little faster. So here's the thing. I love Twitter. I also love Facebook. Facebook is amazing for me to connect and build relationships with people that I already know, I already have a relationship with. Guess what? Facebook and Twitter are not the same. Twitter needs to stop thinking of competing with Facebook. Facebook is a network. Twitter is a fire hose of conversation and can be built around a community. And that is the key. So hold on to your hats because I am going to talk a little faster than I even have been before. The thing about Twitter is it's not about your followers. You don't need a million followers. You just need your right followers. The right audience is more important than a lot of audience. And people understand that. The problem is Twitter is not listening to your community to engage that, to actually bring people in. My mom is impressed. All right. So here's the thing. Getting my mom on the Twitter, to put that to simple, explaining it to my mom. And I love Twitter. It's changed my life. Can you guys tell I love Twitter? Can anyone else tell I love Twitter? Does anyone else know that? Can you guys tell that I love Twitter? I mean, is that apparent that I absolutely love Twitter? I absolutely believe in the power of it. I will preach it to the end of the platform. And if they don't start listening to me and the community, the end of the platform will be too early, and I'll be very sad to see this platform go. But here is the thing. Here is the game changer. Here's the thing. It is public. They do have shareholders to keep happy. But it's about getting the audience engaged and loving on the platform. Are you sure you don't need over 20,000 followers to be relevant? Yes, I'm sure. Vincenzo, even when people make lists that require you to have 20,000 followers. I don't care if you have 5 followers, if what you tweet is of value to your audience and has an impact and is an experience for them, you make a difference. So here it is. You guys ready for this? Twitter is not Facebook. Stop trying to be Facebook. I love the new Twitter feature. How many people else have seen the new Twitter feature called Mentions? So guys, Mentions is on my screen. So if you look across the top, you have 4 different tabs here. This is my podcast account. I can click on Mentions. It's allowing me to get content that I want and organized, and it updates based on content that is unfiltered, but it's actually dynamically created. I actually love this feature. I actually think this feature is pretty darn genius because I think this is a step in the right direction. I think Mentions is a step in the right direction for Twitter. We have to filter the noise. And so the last thing I didn't talk about yet is they need to figure out a way to prevent the spam, the hate, and the fake users and all of that stuff that was built this platform. Because let's be real, just because you have 200,000 followers, nobody trusts you anymore. 200,000 followers, the first thing I think is I need to audit their account. I need to look into them. Oh yes, Twitter Mentions is only available in the US as of today. It will be rolled out more to more people. Sadly, Twitter Mentions doesn't have a tab for Periscope, which would make sense if you wanted to see all of your favorite Periscope content that was in there. So here's the thing, and here's what I'm talking about here, is I permanently believe, let me get back to my list. I believe the learning curve on the Twitter UI is too steep. They need to start by simplifying the new user experience to get those people that are watching a football game all of a sudden see a hashtag and say, oh fine, I'll jump on Twitter and I'll log in for the first time. They need to make those people, they need to transform them from a Twitter lurker or a Twitter user. Oh, Moments, sorry, not Mentions, Moments. Moments is the new feature, not Mentions. Thanks, Vincenzo. Moments is the new feature that was released today. And so they need to really focus on the idea that Twitter is the bridge and the unfiltered data. But they also need to make it easy for us to filter the spam, the fake users, and those that are nonsense. If you guys, hi Diana, Twitter, here's the thing. If you guys ever use Tweetbot, one of my favorite features on Tweetbot is I could actually turn Twitter, and one of the features that it will allow me to do is don't show me any tweets that have links in it. Guess what that does? It only shows me tweets that are conversation. Thank Jeff Goldberg for sharing this to Twitter. Thank you guys for taking screenshots and sharing this to Twitter. Here, if you want to take a screenshot real quick and share this to Twitter, you guys know that's a new Periscope feature, right? You take a screenshot by using on your iPhone, and then it'll pop up a little in the comments section that says share this tweet to Twitter. So thank you guys for sharing it. Thank you, Vincenzo. Thank you guys for all the screenshots. Because here's the thing. I'm going to break it down. We're going to go right down this list. Here is what needs to change. First, they have to realize they're not Facebook. They need to start listening to their community. The second thing they need to do is they need to start empowering their employees and their advocates and their evangelists. They need to be at offline events. If you guys look at Snapchat, Snapchat does an amazing job of being part of the community. If it's a World Cup soccer game, if it's a NFL playoff game, if it's a Major League Baseball game in the playoffs, I think every Bucktober, every playoff Major League Baseball game at every one of these stadiums should have Twitter represented there. Twitter should be empowering these people to tweet from their seats, to share the conversations. Thanks for letting me know Blab's working. I'll jump there after this. And really, I truly believe that they need to look at this and say, how can I empower their evangelists? Because guess what? I love Twitter, and Twitter hasn't paid me a penny. Twitter hasn't paid me $1 from Twitter to Brian Fanzo to iSocial Fans. That's never happened. But if they empowered me, if they sent me 10 t-shirts with the Twitter bird on there and said, Brian, give these out to your biggest fans. We love that you love your community. We want people to be proud that they love Twitter. Guess what? That's not happening today. And the reason that only people that are loving Twitter and are doing it on Twitter and letting people know, the reason that is because they're using Twitter for their business, that Twitter has changed their life. It's not because Twitter cared. And guess what my social philosophy is? It's pretty simple. Show you care. And Twitter needs to step up their game and show they care. If they need to do anything, they need to start understanding that they need to stop worrying about all the brand new users that are only on Snapchat and start figuring out, how do I get all of my existing users and those that are lurkers to become advocates, to become evangelists, to become power users? Because then when ads are being bought by brands, they're not only targeting the right audience, but they're engaging the right audience. And it's not based on follower counts. We need to get rid of fake followers. Don't make all of your employees block 5 accounts a day, which they do. That's stupid. You should have algorithms, you should have technology, you should be using software that helps limit this nonsense of fake followers. If someone doesn't have a email account and they don't have a phone number or a way to do 2-factor authentication, they should not get another Twitter account. We should make the idea that growing these farms of fake Twitter accounts is ruining stuff. And so, Diana, I'm going down what I would have done if Twitter would have hired me as their CEO instead of Jack. And this is my shout out to Jack on what I think he should do and what Jack needs to do to help save Twitter, because guess what? I love Twitter. Twitter has changed my life. Twitter is my favorite platform. Twitter is everything to me. If you tweet me, you probably get a response faster than you get an email or a text message. That's how much I love this platform. I believe in it. It's allowed me to connect with people. We had Sarah Moore is in here. She's in Australia. Vincenzo Landino is in here. Rachel Miller, who I co-host my show with. I would have never found her if she hadn't engaged me on Twitter. Kristen Cardos, if I wasn't in Twitter chats, would have never known who she was. All of these things happened to me on Twitter and have made my life better, have helped me me in my business, help me in my personal life, help me change the world, because I believe together we can change the world. But here's the thing. Twitter needs to start listening to us and start empowering the evangelist. The third thing they need to do, Twitter needs to invest in Twitter training. And if it's not Twitter training at twitter.com because they don't have enough employees, they need to start certifying Twitter power users at Twitter, and I'd be happy to do that. Give me the idea. Here it is. Here it is. Sign me up to be the person that puts people through Twitter training to become a Train the Trainer. I will run a Twitter Train the Trainer platform from Twitter as an employee of Twitter, and I will help verify. And don't give verifications to people that are celebrities. Who cares? No one that has a verified check mark to me means they're a good tweeter. They are engaged or understand the platform of Twitter. A verified check mark means you're connected to the right people, you spent the right amount of money, and maybe you have a connection inside of Twitter. That's what it means if you're verified. But imagine if they had a verified trainer, train the trainer at Twitter, and you could pay to go to a course, and afterwards you were certified, you were on the Twitter website, and when people said, hey, I need to teach all of my employees in IBM how to use Twitter, guess what? Guess what they would do? They would go to one of the verified people, and guess what Twitter would benefit? Not only would they have more users, they'd have smarter users, they'd have users that were engaged, they'd have users that were trained correctly. Yes, Guy Kawasaki was the Apple evangelist, and so I built my career around Guy Kawasaki and Robert Scoble. Guy Kawasaki built a cult following around Apple because it was about the experience. He was not about sales quota. He was about connecting external communities to internal communities. He was about making sure that people understood what the product teams wanted, not what the sales teams wanted. That's what I built my career after. I actually became a technology evangelist, reporting directly to my CEO because that was my goal, that was my role. I believe Twitter and Periscope not only need an evangelist, they need a face of the company, and sign me up for it right here. Sign this guy up for it. But I don't think they're listening, and I don't think they have, honestly, I don't think they have the trust factor in enough to know that by empowering someone like me that bleeds Twitter and loves Twitter, that it could have an impact on Wall Street. More than likely, they would say, well, Brian, we don't need you because we already have fans. We don't need more fans. And guess what? They need a face of Twitter. And right now there isn't a face of Twitter. And Jack, you know what? I'm so glad that Jack's back as CEO. Jack is the godfather of Twitter. He's the one that put us this platform on the map that allowed us to do the great things we're doing. But guess what? Jack is too disconnected from the community, too disconnected from the power user, doesn't understand the pain points of the small business, doesn't understand why the enterprises are deploying employee advocacy tools, and every one of those employee advocacy tools are tweeting the wrong way because they're focusing on what to tweet, not how and why you tweet. The reason you tweet is because you're telling a story, you're engaging. It's about creating value. It's about understanding your audience, and that is the key. And I agree, corporations will be the doom. The reason small businesses and the reason startups are emerging as game changers, the reason Blab is knocking off Google Hangouts, because they get it. They're connected to the community. Blab understands. Blab cares. Blab is innovating based on community feedback. That's why you see people writing blog posts and advocating for Blab, because they're not too disconnected from their community. And yes, I know Blab is smaller and Twitter is huge and they're public, but guess what? That is no freaking excuse to not be listening to your community, to not be engaged, and not be providing value. So ultimately, Twitter training, Twitter certified training. Let's put verified check marks next to people that are certified Twitter trainers. That could be the power. I'll do it with you guys. They don't need fans. They need families. I agree. And honestly, they need to empower all of us. And Jack needs, and you know how he keeps he doesn't understand small business. You know what? And to keep the shareholder satisfied, he has to understand small businesses. Because guess what? The small businesses are not only the ones paying for those ads. The small businesses are the ones that are on Twitter trying to figure out better from their customer. They're the ones that are scrapping every day. If you guys listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, the jab, 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 right hook, there is no better platform in this entire world to leverage for jabbing than Twitter. The problem is if the audience it's too difficult to get the audience on the platform, then the audience that they're trying to jab at is not there because Twitter is not making it easy. They're not training. The third thing, Twitter needs to keep it simple. The UI is way too difficult to understand. If you put a hashtag in the search function of Twitter, it is really confusing. Things pop up with live and photos, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of the new users. Honestly, yes, Gary Vaynerchuk is the man. I'm part of the Gary Vaynerchuk school of Gary Vaynerchuk, in the sense of I believe in what he's doing, and I believe maybe he's the one I need to go talk to and say to hire me to help change the world of Twitter, because I know he believes in the power of Twitter as well. So that the Twitter UI, they need to focus on going from lurkers to power users. The fourth thing, Twitter paid. They need to make Twitter ads simpler. Guess what? Guess if there was these Twitter certified trainers, guess what if there was Twitter certified ad trainers, and these small businesses could go sit in these classes? Because guess what? I don't believe anybody can create a Twitter class. Anybody can call themselves a social media expert. And you know what? Those experts are killing Twitter. You heard it right now. And it's not, I love the word expert because there are some people that are expert on Twitter and platforms. But all of those ninjas, all of those people that said, hey, there is no baseline, there's no certification, there's no knowledge that is required to have a $249 class to train people on Twitter. Guess what? There's no bar, there's no regulation, there's no certification via Twitter. So anybody can train anybody how to do Twitter. And guess what? That means anybody can train people how to use Twitter badly, the wrong way, or not actually find value in it, and you're losing those people for life. Guess what, Twitter? Start looking at training, and if you don't believe in taking the training in-house, start looking at ways to run a train-the-trainer program, not only for ads, but for new users, for businesses and enterprises. Start empowering their employee advocates. Thank you guys for the hearts. I'm glad you guys agree with me there. And I don't mean to shout and point, but I love this platform, and I think they're lost, and I really hope that Jack will put them in the right direction. The next piece I talked about before is they need to focus on offline events and start teaching those people and being visible at offline events. Yeah, I am fired up. When they go to these offline events, they need to go to Major League Baseball games. They need to go to a musical. They need to go to whenever there's a new Broadway show released in New York. They know what they should do? They should have the Twitter street team there. And guess what? It doesn't even need to be. It doesn't need to be Twitter employees. It means empowering evangelists, creating a community on Slack that is a whole bunch of people that get inside information on Twitter, get unlimited swag, and can go to these events, and they're probably already going or living in that area, and they can start handing people out, hey, this is the hashtag for the event. Imagine if they were giving out t-shirts, or they were giving out swag for people that said, hey, here's the hashtag for this new Broadway show. Twitter street team would be pretty much amazing. Show up. You can pretend to care, but you can't pretend to show up. I agree. Yes, I am full of ideas, and this is something that I love and believe in with all my heart. So I believe they need to start creating and understanding the power of evangelists and advocates. They also need to set up a beta community so that people can beta test their apps. Because guess what happens when people are beta testing your apps? You get real user feedback, not product management feedback or product user feedback that people are stuck in some closet and they don't even use Twitter but send 2 tweets a day, and they're the ones deciding on new features, why they're changing the buttons, why lists are so freaking hard to actually use. Yes, beta testing is invaluable. I would love to help them with that. I love that Periscope now has a beta community and they're actually deploying beta software so that they can learn from the people. Twitter street team, yes. And then they need to make the Twitter data accessible, easy to view, and here's the best part. They need to provide Twitter data for small businesses and entrepreneurs in an actionable way. Because guess what? Analytics and data with no path to action is noise and a waste of time. Yes, Twitter should help all brands and offline events understand the power of a hashtag, understand how the hashtag should not be used for an event for the 1 week of the event. It should be used 365 days a year to build a community. Because guess what? Hashtags are the glue of a Twitter community. It's not your followers. It's not your tweet. A hashtag is the glue for a Twitter community, and they do a really bad job of empowering and teaching people to do that, and that is what they could really do. If they could figure out, hey, I'm going to teach these brands how to leverage hashtags correctly, I'm going to teach them how to leverage Twitter chats, I'm going to understand offline events, and then I'm going to give them data that is in an actionable way. Guess what? Imagine if a small business was able to log into Twitter every single Monday and say, hey, here are all your new followers, and on that report, in the Twitter screen, because remember, you have to keep it simple, stupid, because a small business owner does not want to have to go buy Simply Measured or go buy Hootsuite or go buy a third-party tool just to use a platform that they want to leverage like Twitter. Eventually, they want to use a third-party tool. But why is everybody using a third-party tool? Why are all of the brands using third-party tools? Guess what, Twitter? Your UI sucks for a power user. And the reason people are stuck between lurker and average user, and then there's a huge gap between power user, is because power users are using the tools that actually allow them to leverage the platform. And everyone else is stuck going, how do people do this? I don't understand how Brian tweets 1,200 times a day and he engages with everybody. I could never do that in the Twitter UI. Guess what? I couldn't either. I believe I would, and I'm not one that's going to brag about what I can do, but I believe that I am one of the more seasoned, engaged Twitter users that are on any platform across the board on Twitter. And guess what? I don't spend all day on Twitter. I don't live on Twitter. I don't waste all of my time on Twitter, but Twitter has changed my life. And the reason I'm really good at using it is because I leverage tools, data, I trained myself, and guess what? I trust that me being myself can provide value. Because everyone always asks me the same question. How often should I tweet and when should I tweet? And I reply every time. You tweet when if you provide value to your audience and if you're helping people. Nobody will ever say you're providing too much value or you're helping too much. The reason people don't unfollow me and I tweet 1,200 times a week, the reason that is because I built my community. They understand my focus and goal is to provide them value. And if they don't find value in what I'm tweeting and if they think it's spam, guess what they do? They unfollow me. And that's their loss, not mine, because I focus on those that are following me and those that are sharing a common interest, a common passion around a hashtag. Because you don't have to follow me to get value from my tweets. Maybe you follow a hashtag like SBizHour or a hashtag like Periscope or a hashtag like one of the events I go to. So honestly, data and social listening is my last one. And my final part of this recap is video. Twitter needs to relook at Periscope. They need to relook at Twitter video, and they need to start making it an essential part of not only the company, but their training and their own employees. How did Jack from Twitter, the CEO of Twitter, not jump on Periscope Monday and make his announcement? There is no excuse. I don't care if it was shareholders. I don't care if it was legal. I don't care what your excuse was. Guess what? If you can't trust yourself as a CEO of the company that owns Periscope, how the hell am I going to convince enterprise customers? How the hell am I going to convince banking customers that I have that are reaching out to me and saying, Brian, I want to use live streaming? How can I convince them that the tool is powerful and you just have to trust it when Twitter yourself are not using it because maybe you don't trust that your employees, maybe you don't trust that your leadership could use it correctly, or maybe you're too worried about the comments being not what you want to see. Guess what? Start putting filters in place so that you can use it yourself, because I'm not going to get brands to buy off of it until Twitter embraces it themselves. They own this platform. I believe Twitter has revitalized so many people's lives or Periscope has revitalized so many people's lives on Twitter. And the reason that is because they now found a new home. Because guess what? There's a lot of fake, there's a lot of crap, and yes, I will put this, it's always on catch. I am set up to auto catch every one of my broadcasts. I'm one of the original catch users, and I will upload this to both my Facebook page as well as YouTube after this broadcast is over. I should have done it in Landscape, but I forget that Landscape exists. And so honestly, my last part there is they need to relook at Periscope. They need to hire me. They need to hire people that understand Twitter and Periscope and say, guess what? We need to start looking at these platforms and saying, how can we leverage these to build communities, to build advocates, and help people collaborate? Because community and collaboration are the future of business. And if they help companies, small business, power users, if they help them become better in their business, guess what? They're going to be using the platform more, they're going to buy more ads, and people are going to understand the platform. And guess who wins? The shareholders, Wall Street, because the data is now of value and people are actually using the platform. Let me know if you need help with a template on Periscope videos on YouTube. Oh, okay, sweet. Yeah, Windsor, thanks. I do have one, but I haven't really used it that much because my focus is really on the content itself, less on the SEO and the stuff around it. But so for everyone that's listening, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is my take on why I think Twitter needs to relook at what everything is that was Twitter CEO. So guess what I'm going to do right now? Let's continue this conversation. All right, here it is right here. All right, I'm going to tweet it out right now. So if you guys go to Twitter, no problem, Tim. Thank you. All right, guys. So this is my rant. This is my take. I'm now jumping on to Blab to continue this conversation. To me, this is all about, Blab is a compliment. Blab allows me to connect and bring some of you guys on video. So Blab is what I like to call Brady Bunch meets video collaboration built around keep it simple, stupid. So I'm going to launch this Blab right now. I'm going to tweet out the link. If you go to my Twitter account right here, guys. Yes, I think increasing the character limit will be the death of Twitter. If Twitter increases the limit of characters, it's the death of the platform. The reason that Twitter is not a blog and it is not Facebook and is not just a dump of RSS feed, and the reason it has value is because it takes creativity. It creates people that understand the engagement. And if you can't say it in 140 characters, use 2 tweets or start saying it better. I do believe they could better manage the hashtags. Maybe just take away the links counting against your 140 characters, or give you one hashtag, no matter what that hashtag is, that it doesn't count against your total characters. But if they move the character limit up, I think that is the death of the platform. I believe it then becomes from a short blogging platform to a medium blogging platform, and heaven forbid we don't need another one of those. And I will say it, I will say it forever. I love that they opened up the Twitter DMs. I have a ton of people that actually engage with me on Twitter DMs on a regular basis that are unlimited. So now I don't have to go from public Twitter to Twitter DM to email to Skype. Now I can go from Twitter to Twitter DM, actually provide value, and then if Skype is the next place, that is where it's going. It's crazy noisy. It's already too noisy, and I think Moments, the new app, is pretty powerful. But I'm gonna fire up this Blab now. Hopefully you guys will jump on there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sharing this with your followers. Once again, my name is Brian Fanzo, better known as iSocial Fans. I believe together we can change the world. I believe Twitter is a game changer. It's changed my life both personally and professionally. And ultimately, if we come together and Twitter listens to us, the community, they can change the future of Twitter and be around for a long time, and it can help us all make a greater impact. Cheers, my friends. Thank you guys for tuning in.